All right. Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 8, question mark. We're going to say it's episode 8. Um,
I don't think it's
it's international break. It's the international break, so we're going to be ranking the transfer window of teams, right?
Teams.
I think we're going to be ranking and rating like our club's transfer windows, maybe Liverpool's and United's as well, and then we're going to do our best and worst 11s of the season so far. So this is kind of going to be just an all over the place episode, I feel like.
Filler.
Kind of
An
just
opinionated one.
Yeah, an opinionated one, kind of a filler. But yeah, I don't know. Where do we want to start? What's going on?
I mean,
School, baby.
Might as well start.
Down.
Oh wow. Might as well start. What you said. Might as well start ranking some stuff. Where unless you have something you want to start with, Eddie.
Yeah, let's start then with Chelsea. Chelsea boys, grade A through F. Grade your transfer window.
So I started out with this.
Incomings and outgoings are included in this, by the way. So not just one or the other.
So both are.
The whole transfer
So, like,
as a whole.
Overall, yeah. So if
I was
you
gonna
thought
split
the
it. I was gonna split it up between incomings and outgoings.
I think you come if it's the incomings with the money that we spent, I'd give it a C. If it's the outgoings with the money we recuperated and with the big wages we were able to get off the books, that's an A. So for me overall, I think it's a B. I think we got rid of a lot of the deadwood we had. We still have a lot of room to improve. I think the next transfer window we'll have to focus on a little bit of a different approach than just signing like youngsters with potential. But overall, I think for me personally, I think it's a B.
I mean, the only thing that I will say about your C is just that we had to fill out the squad one way or the other, with all that we sold. So we can't spend everything that we earned from the outgoings on incomings. We gotta be smart about it.
Right, but
So buying younger is gonna set us up for the future.
I understand that, but I think that we can say, like those young kids, we'll sell them for big profits. We'll be able to spend more money later down the road, and that's great and all, and that's fine if we were struggling financially. When you spend $500 million ish around there, and $1 billion, as everyone likes to point out in the last year, I think that we brought in some good talent. Don't get me wrong. I just think that it's a C because for the money we spent, I think that we could have brought in one or two more reputable players, more distinguished players with experience. That's where I am critical about the approach. I'm not mad about signing the youngsters. I do think not all of them obviously are going to be world-class players. Maybe one or two will. Some will probably just be players that like you said, will probably sell on and get money for, which is perfectly fine with me, But I just think it's a C based on who we brought in for the amount of money we brought in, instead of it's just the overall. I guess what I'm trying to say is just the overall recruitment, because like you said, we had to fill in the squad, and I think while a lot of them were like, all right, this kid's for the future and stuff, we didn't. Some of the players we did bring in, it felt more like panic buys. So that's where I'm critical. Like Lavia, I think was kind of a panic buy. I think Lavia was a panic buy because of Caicedo, and I think that we spent too much time playing around with Caicedo.
I also think the kid that what's his name? I can't even remember his name now. The player that you guys bought from us.
Cole Palmer was another one, yeah, I think.
How you gonna be all sad about losing him and you can't remember his name 2 weeks later? Not even 2 weeks, 1 week later.
Bro,
messed up, man.
He's just not in the team anymore. He's just he's just not in the team anymore. It's not that I don't care about him, but like he's just. I wish him luck, but
he's dead to me.
Not city anymore.
What do you think?
I mean, here's the only thing I can say about it is, or at least for Cole Palmer, we needed a 10. Whether
Yeah,
he's a 10, a winger, whatever the hell he is, doesn't matter. He's going to play the 10. Or at least I hope he plays the 10.
but
I hope he
when
plays the 10 with the double pivot of Caicedo, Enzo behind him.
but wouldn't you also kind of agree? Like, I'm not discrediting. I think Palmer's a good player, but wouldn't you also kind of agree that that's kind of a panic buy?
It was more of a necessity buy.
Whatever you want to call it.
Because here's the
Like,
thing here's the thing.
hmm
We didn't plan for him at the start of the season because of Carney, or earlier in the summer transfer window because of Carney.
right.
Carney
And then
gets
Cuckoo.
injured, and Kuku was injured by
Right
pretty
before the
early in
first
the
game of
transfer
the
window.
week. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
before the first game of the season, yeah.
well, way before that. It was earlier in the transfer window, so that's the only reason why I don't include Kuku in that because he was already out.
Okay.
We were expecting to have Carney slash maybe like a who the hell knows, fucking Matson maybe, I don't know, as a 10. Um, until Nkunku comes back.
hmm
Carney and Nkunku go out. Now we're like, hey, okay, it's a necessity,
Right.
and
But
it's a good quality necessity.
right. But also that's my point. It's like we waited. We had one center attacking midfielder, 110 going into the season, where our record with injuries is not a good thing, and for you to sit there and go, wait, we could have put Ian Matson there. Ian Matson is not this kid that we can just put in a position. I know a lot of the fans like Ian Matson, but I think that like we need someone to actually be able to fill in that role, especially when we have more games coming. And like Chukwemeka is not. He was good. I liked him, and then he got injured, and now we waited. What was it? He got injured against West Ham, so we waited 2 weeks, and then we bought Cole Palmer. Like to me, that's a panic buy. That wasn't a plan. That wasn't. Well, we'll get someone in. Another young kid if we want to. Someone that's not going to take in Cuckoo's spot when he comes back, but someone that can also grow in that position. We decided
I
to
think we
wait,
were
and we go
also
Cole Palmer.
I think we're also waiting for outgoings. So I can't defend one thing or the other. I don't know what the plan was. I don't know if they had it planned earlier or what. I don't know. But I think we're also waiting on outgoings before we bought Palmer. Before we
Right.
open the door on Palmer.
And that's fine. And but like I said, that's my biggest critique of the window. Like, the outgoings are a hard thing. I do give that an A because these were players that we've had such a hard time unloading. That
Well, it was the wage book has been opened up
exactly,
incredibly.
exactly. That's what I mean. Like, because it's hard. Because like, it's not that these guys don't have value. It's that no one wants to pay these guys the wages they were getting paid at Chelsea. So everyone would just rather
Yeah.
wait out their contracts. So I think
Yeah.
on that scale, it was an A. But I think like just on the recruitment part, and maybe you're right. Maybe it was they're waiting on outgoings, but to me, it just like while we have more of a plan, I still don't think it's 100% the right approach. So that's kind of where my issue is. I get that like with these young kids, it's going to help with FFP down the road and stuff, but I just think that we could
I
have.
mean, I don't. Sorry, keep going.
No, I was just saying. I just don't think that. I think the next transfer window, while we can still focus on younger players, I think we need to also start looking at more experienced players to kind of fit around this squad.
And I think that's
Oh,
what will happen in January and the next summer transfer window.
And I hope so. I
Is
really do.
I think we're setting the foundation for the necessary additions.
Mm-hmm.
So we're betting in these kids, seeing what's hitting, what's not hitting, and then we're going to go out and reinforce where we need it and sell where we don't need it. Only thing I will say is yes, I'm a little unhappy incoming wise of the 25 and under rule because
Mm-hmm.
without it we could have gone Madison for 26, who apparently Poch was in for, and we didn't go for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the one side of it where we dropped the ball. But also, we started off the season expecting Nkunku. We bought Nkunku, what, a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I can also understand not wanting to go for another player in that same age to screw over Nkunku's price point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with going younger so that once Nkunku gets a little bit older, this guy's already ready to take the spot, or give him competition as it goes. Who the fuck knows?
So, Abdon, what was your grade?
Sorry, I forgot to give it. I'll give incomings an A plus. I'll give, or not outgoings an A plus. Sorry, my bad. And incomings, I'll give it a B, just because I like the pieces we brought in. Will it equal immediate success? Probably not. I don't really care about immediate success in that way, as long as we can start grinding out results and setting up the team in the correct way, everything will work out. But we're just not doing that right now. We'll see what the fuck Posh does after the international break. But the team will only get better if we're setting it up in a way to help us improve. And if he does that and we all improve, no one's gonna care about us buying 21-year-old, 22-year-olds. Everyone's gonna see it and be like, "Oh, hey, this is great business because they did it this way. Now they're set up for the next 10 years." Blah blah blah.
Jose, what was yours?
I think overall it's a B because I gave an A to outgoings and a C to incomings. So overall a B.
Okay. Daniel, for Chelsea?
Oh, for Chelsea?
Yeah.
B? Like
Overall or for
B, like
both?
B plus, maybe creeping into A minus, like overall. Like I totally agree where these guys are coming from, but like, I mean, if you just just on paper, like I'm not gonna like break down each transfer, um, just because like I'm just not gonna do that. But um, just like if just like on paper, if you're looking at the players that went in, who went out, I just think just overall it's a B plus, maybe creeping into A minus. So I just think
I will.
I think the only thing that like hinders them a little bit is that they bought a lot of quote unquote young promising talent, which is not really what they need. They need some actual foundational players. I mean, these are players for the future for sure, but they need people for the now. They don't need people like they were buying players like Mudryk. They
That
bought
was
Cole
last season.
Palmer.
That was last season.
No, but I'm just saying like you're buying like players with the same name who have the same um I guess rising potential like Mudryk. Like you guys were buying like players like Cole Palmer, and a lot of other young players. Like, did you guys even buy any established players this transfer window?
Define established. Define
I would
established.
say Nkunku is an established
Yeah,
player.
like he was last year.
Even
Well,
though, like, you can
for
be
this transfer
you can be
window.
young and be an established player.
Yeah, you got to define the established.
The only players I
Like
could
playing in the top five consistently, you know, within
Top five.
Europe, top five leagues,
Okay.
top
then
five leagues.
Nicholas Jackson, Axel Disasi, Robert Sanchez, Caicedo,
Yeah.
Lavia.
I mean, really,
And Cole
everyone that
Palmer,
we
I guess.
bought, almost everyone that we bought this summer transfer window was established in the top 5 leagues. When we brought in Ugo Chukwu, he was established in France. Lavia established in I guess not a top 5 league, but he was established last season.
It's England.
I'm just asking because
Huh?
I'm not following
Lavia-
Established
I'm not
last
a
season.
supporter.
It's because he's
Oh,
in the
yeah.
championship. He was in the championship of when we bought him, but
Yeah,
he was
but-
established before.
He was
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
For the most part, like other than all these Brazilian kids that we bought that were hoarding, everyone that we bought was established in
In
Europe.
a top 5 league. Yeah.
Okay. I was just asking because, like I said, I don't follow Chelsea. I didn't really follow their transfer window closely, so
Yeah.
No, I
now,
get you.
Now, whether a lot
at
of
least
them,
from what I saw, like even though they were young players per se, there were still some good buys for sure. But I just think the only thing like you guys really need right now is just not young talent, but you need like
Experienced.
experienced, talented players for the now instead of the future.
yeah, who can challenge at this moment? Because that's where I would say like Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, yeah, we signed some established players, but like, are they the players that you would normally associate with someone trying to get back in the Champions League or trying to like top or challenge? I would probably say no, but that's also okay. You know, if you get a good
Yeah, there's
deal.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, because that doesn't necessarily mean that their level isn't good enough, but I just mean that time will
Right.
tell. I just mean that those aren't the stars that most people would have assumed us bringing in.
Yeah.
So.
And they have a lot of experienced players like within that. I know a lot of the Champions League players left, but there's still a few people like Reece James, Chilwell, Thiago Silva.
Sterling.
So there's experience there for sure that can guide a lot of these players, and then even some of the new guys as well, like Cole Palmer. Didn't Disasi play in the Champions League last season?
Yeah, I mean, Disasi and Madueke were both
In the
in a
Champions
partnership
League?
at Monaco. So,
Okay.
so if anything, with Badia Shield coming back here and after the international break, maybe we're gonna go a Badia Shield, Disasi back four
Which
or
might be nice.
center back partnering, which wouldn't be the end of the world just to bring some stability into the back four because right now we're playing defensive and we're still leaking goals. So what the fuck's the point? Let's go attacking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess overall,
Yeah.
it's a B or an A.
I'll say a B minus. I guess I will pivot us over, staying in London but going up north. Talking about Tottenham. All right. Yeah. So like I was saying, big summer for us. New manager with just a completely different philosophy to the last few managers we've had. And I think our incomings certainly reflected that, and certainly are buys that fit the system and have been proving to fit the system. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about certain players when we do our best 11s. But like I think Van de Ven's been unbelievable. Vicario's been really good. Madison has been as advertised. And then obviously there's younger players that we brought in, like that 16-year-old center back who we just signed like 2 days ago. He's for the future. Ashley Phillips, Valise, the striker. So I think as far as incomings go, I would probably grade us a solid A, not an A plus, because I think we could have brought in another center back and maybe. Oh, and also Brandon Johnson, which we've yet to see him, but still an exciting signing. But I think there's a couple more pieces I would have liked. So I can't say home run A plus, but definitely a solid A. Outgoings, I don't know what the fuck we were doing. Like, we hardly got rid of any of our deadwood. I mean, the fact that Eric Dyer and Ben Davey, I mean, Hugo Lloris is still on the team. Hugo Lloris didn't get a move, which is just insane. Like, he's just gonna, like, I'm assuming we're just gonna buy out his contract at some point.
I was reading. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. But I was reading.
No, you're good.
An article in the Athletic, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but there was a falling out between. I think it was Nice that was after him.
Yeah, it was.
Lloris.
It was. I saw that.
For
After
Lloris,
Lloris?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what the circumstances were, but I just know that there was like a falling out, and then he just didn't sign because he said that he didn't want to stay on the bench all season, but it's going to look like that now.
He's probably not even going to be on the bench.
Really,
Like, I don't even think
Foster's going to take over.
Yeah, I think Hugo's probably just not going to play. I know what you meant, Fraser Forster.
Yeah,
I think Lloris is probably just not going to play until we either buy him out or sell him in January.
Wow.
But yeah, I kind of just wish we would have sold some more players because, I mean, we still have these guys like Dyer and Davies that are just useless. So outgoings, I would say, is probably like a C plus, which kind of brings their average grade down to like a B. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to be negative other than the fact that we're out of the League Cup, but who the fuck cares? Like, it's pretty hard to be negative right now. Obviously it's Tottenham, so whatever can go wrong will go wrong. So I'm gonna remain to be cautiously optimistic for now. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to not be excited about the players we brought in who are performing at a high level so far. So I would say overall a B plus, but a solid A for incomings and a C plus for outgoings. Jose.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think you're probably right on the outgoings. I think that's probably a C plus. I know you guys got a lot of these players out on loan, but you haven't got them off the books, so I can agree with you there. Except for incomings, I actually give it an A plus. Because I think one thing that we've criticized Tottenham for a lot is the amount of money that they actually will spend. And we look at you brought in Brennan Johnson, you brought in Mickey Van de Ven, Manor Solomon, James Madison, Vicario, made Kulusevski a permanent deal. Like he spent a lot of money. Granted, maybe they just assumed that Kane money was going to come in, so they weren't afraid to spend. But I also think that Daniel Levy was also here when Gareth Bale left, and it got worse when Gareth Bale left before it got better. Whereas right now it feels like it's getting better than it is before it will get worse. You know what I mean? Because obviously we're still early in the season. There could still be a lot of variables that change how we look at Tottenham. But as of right now, I think when you look at Tottenham, what they've been doing for the last couple years versus this transfer window, I do think it's an A plus. I think it's a drastic improvement on what's been happening for the club. And while there's still a lot of room for growth and a lot more, room to replace some of these deadwood players with more younger or more established players that can add depth, can add more or add more to a mentality there, add more to a culture. I think it's a huge step in the right direction. So for me, overall, I give it an A.
Daniel, how would you grade Tottenham's window?
I'd give it an A as well. I mean, um, I would give it an A plus. I think you're down. I think you're not when it comes to the players out. I think you're not giving it enough credit because even though you're upset that Dyer and Davies isn't gone, you still got rid of like Sanchez uh, and Dombele. Even though Reguilon was on loan, he's still not at the club. Um, so I think, and then you still have other players as well because did Spence go on loan?
Spence went on loan, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I think a
Yeah.
lot of I feel like even though like you didn't get rid of two players that you didn't want at the club, I still think there was a lot of other players that needed to leave anyways. And like I feel like the big one for me was Sanchez.
Oh
Sanchez
yeah, for
needed to
sure.
go, and he finally left. Um, so I think you're not giving Levy or whoever the director of football is enough credit for the for the axing of some of the players, but I would give it overall an A. And then the transfers, I mean, they speak for themselves. I mean, they've been flourishing. It's only been 4 games in, but I knew Madison was going to hit. The fact that you guys got Solomon on a free was like baffling to me. I thought Fulham was going to sign, him for another 2 or 3 years, but the fact that you guys got him on a free is like, I just don't know how you managed to do that. But Madison, Solomon, who else? You bought,
Van de
yeah,
Ven,
Van de Ven,
Vicario,
Vicario.
Brennan
So
Johnson.
I think you guys got a lot of really good talent as well for the starting 11. So overall, I would give it an A.
Abdon.
I'll go with an A minus. Only because everyone that you brought in was pretty good, and what you got out was what you needed to get out. The only things that I'm gonna go on assumption with the regular loan is that he might come back in January, because the reason why the Cucurella loan fell through was because Man United wanted a 6-month option to terminate the loan. they're gonna wait for Luke Shaw. So you might have gotten rid of him. I don't know the details of the whole loan. It could have been just that Chelsea was asking for more money or something. I don't know. But you could get him back in the middle of the season. I don't know what that's going to do to your team chemistry. I don't know if he was kicking up a fuss or anything like that. I'm not sure. And Brennan Johnson, he's a quality addition, just a little bit overpriced. That's the only thing that kills it for me, just a little bit. That's the only reason. Those are the two why I kick it down to an A minus. Everything else is pretty solid. Uh, um, you finally finished the Harry Kane saga, so
Oh yeah,
thank you.
how did we not mention him in the outgoings?
Oh gosh,
I
yeah.
did. I did.
Yeah, you did. I didn't even. I honestly, I've put him so out of
Wow.
my head.
8 years, like
Like
a decade with you
I
guys,
know.
and that's the respect you give him?
I think it was longer than that. I think he was at the club for like 11.
Yeah, it was
12
like
years.
12
Yeah,
years, like
but-
12 or 13 years, I
But
think.
for starting like
Oh,
2013,
yeah.
2014.
Yeah.
Been there for a decade. You're just
Sorry,
like, yeah.
sorry, Harry Kane, I guess. All right,
No,
sorry,
you're not.
Abdon, continue.
Very good. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I mean, you finally got past that. I'm a little confused. Was Mora that bad that you guys wanted to let him go on a free, or did you just wanted to leave?
I think it was a
One
combination
A combination.
of both. Like,
Okay.
also what Daniel said. Like, we didn't need him. He wasn't going to be a part of Ange's plan, and like, he just wasn't very good anymore.
Wasn't a
Maybe
solid
I'm just going off.
player, yeah.
I mean, even going off of history, not what happened last season or anything like that. But I mean, it's a solid season, solid transfer window. We'll see how it plays out throughout the season. That's just pretty much it.
Yeah. Leave it to the Spurs fan to have the lowest grade. To be the least confident.
That's called trauma.
All right, Dan.
It's a trauma response.
Yeah. All right, Daniel. Talk us through City's window. How are you feeling?
I would give it an A. I don't know if I want to give it like a solid A, an A minus, or an A plus. Reason being is that like part of the reason why I want to give it an A plus is the player outings. It's kind of a huge loss that we lost players like Gundogan, Laporte, Riyad Mahrez. I just feel like those three particular players. I feel like they had some more to offer for City. I can understand why Gundogan wanted to leave, but someone like Riyad Mahrez and Laporte to go to the Saudi League, I feel like they had more to offer. So I just, I was pretty upset that they both left. But also with players leaving, I was really happy with a lot of the young talent that left because a lot of them are actually going to be in the league and we loaned them out. I mean, some of them are going to be in the championship as well, but a lot of them are loaned out to the Premier League sides as well. So I think that's going to be really good for the future. And then for players coming in, I would give it an A as well. I don't think there was anything that we really needed apart from a midfield to replace Gundogan and someone to replace Riyad Mahrez. Gavardiol, I mean, even though he's a great addition, we had Laporte, but at the same time, I knew signing Gavardiol would then just have Laporte going out the way. But other than that, I would give it either an A, maybe an A plus, or maybe an A minus. I don't know, but it's definitely an A for me.
Honestly, I think incomings, like I really rate Gvardiol's obviously really good.
Yeah.
Doku I rate really highly, and Mateus Nunes from Wolves I think could maybe end up being the like underrated signing. When I saw that he was when I saw that he was going to City, I was like, man, that's a really good addition, especially with Gundogan gone. I think he could end up being really good if he gets minutes. That's going to be really dependent on that. Just because with City, it's like there's just so much talent that you lose players like Gundogan and Mahrez and Laporte. It almost just doesn't matter because the next man ready to come in is either just as good, if not better. So I think I'm at a solid A, but leaning potentially A plus. I think City did really good business.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have been like kind of down on them because of the players that left, but like I said, like it's not like they didn't bring in guys like Gavardiol and Nunez and Doku and some of the players that were already
Kovacic as
there.
well, yeah.
Kovacic, yeah, some of the players that were already there also can step right in. So yeah, I really think City did a good job.
I was really happy. Like I was really before I let someone else speak. I was really happy with the incomings as well. But I cannot stress how happy I am with the players leaving. Not so much Gundogan
Yeah,
and Mahrez and Laporte, but it's more of like our younger talent because we're giving them Premier League um, exposure. We're giving them just minutes in general, and the fact that they're going to be here in England playing most likely regularly, it makes me happy.
I'm done. What do you think about City's window?
Solid B. Only because I feel like they're very settled on the back line. But I feel like they're 2 injuries away from a difficult time in the midfield. Only because they're kind of banking on defensive and attacking side on Foden not getting injured while KDB's injured, and Rodri not getting injured with just Calvin Phillips on the back end. I know Pep doesn't really rate Calvin Phillips, and
He used to
he
before he
used
got
to,
injured.
but he hasn't ever since. He
Yeah.
would rather play John Stones up there, which maybe
Yeah.
that's his answer to it. But we can only know how long the John Stones experiment will work for.
Right.
Either goes up there up top or in the defensive mid for the rest of his career, or he goes back to center back and stays there. I think players also need a little stability, and they can't be swapping back and forth like that for forever. But also, I mean, how old is John Stones? He's almost 30.
Yeah. He's like
So
28, 29.
yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. But then again, I mean, you guys have the most stacked squad. It just
Yeah.
depends on you guys getting a little. You guys are getting a little older. It'll just depend on fitness. Plus, I can't fucking talk because we're the youngest squad and have the most injuries. So
The only thing I'll say is that Pep does a really good job with rotating the
mhm,
players.
mhm,
Obviously, there's going to be players who play a lot more than others, but he does a very good job rotating the squad for whatever the game needs, as
mhm,
well as just like looking into the future and seeing maybe if our player, like if someone, I know Kevin De Bruyne's injured, but if let's just say he wasn't, like he would like analyze ahead of time and be like, well, Kevin, we can afford to lose Kevin this game, but we cannot afford to lose him this game.
mhm.
And it's not just him; it's other players as well. So I'll say that he does a really good job rotating the squad.
Yeah.
Even though we'll still have injuries creep in here and there, um, him doing that it reduces the likelihood of our players getting injured significantly. So that's the only thing I'll have to say about that.
Yeah. And then, I mean, Doku, you would think he's probably the Mara's replacement. We'll see if he can live up to that magnitude.
Probably
And then
won't be.
Kovacic, you brought him in for what I'm assuming is a Gundogan
Yeah,
replacement.
yeah,
Kovacic can't do what Gundogan does.
yeah. Oh no, for sure.
He's gonna have to
I'm
play a
not. I'm
different
not.
system. No, no,
I'm
no, no.
not.
But I'm saying like he won't be the replacement for Gundogan. Gundogan gave you a lot of clutch moments and really saved your ass a couple times. Not every fucking game, but just
Right.
here and there, especially when you needed it. He
Mhm.
saved you.
Yeah.
Don't expect that from Kovacic.
Oh, I wasn't going to.
He'll be able to drive up the field, but he cannot shoot to save his life.
Didn't he get like 2 or 3 goals at his time, like at Chelsea?
Maybe like 5. But I think he went like a season and a half or 2 seasons without a goal.
Right.
So
No, I'm very aware of Kovacic, but it's just yeah, they're two completely different players. Like Gundogan was just like a I don't want to downplay him as a player, but like on a technical ability, Kovacic is like miles better than him. But as you said, he was a clutch player, and he really came in big when we needed him most. So
that's the only thing is I just don't think you. I think you lost some clutchness with Gundogan leaving.
we still have Rodri, and he's another big clutch player for us
He's
as well.
becoming very
So
clutch now. Yes, for sure. Uh, we just have to see if maybe Rodri is just the Gundogan replacement, and then because I mean Kovacic can play deeper. He won't be the DM, but he can play deeper.
right.
Jose.
It's an F. It's an F all around. It's terrible. It's just
Oh
needs
my
to quit.
God.
Needs to quit. No, on the reality, it's like it's a B. To me, it's a B. It can't go any lower. It can't go any higher. I think, like Abdon was saying, you lost some really big players, and I don't think the players you brought them in are going to be able to step in and like obviously replace their quality. They're all different players. Um, that being said, they're not bad players you brought in. You brought in Doku. You brought in Joe Kovacic. You know, they're not bad players. I just don't think that. I do think that the squad itself has gone down in terms of quality. You know, I mean, like you said that you think Kovacic is a more technical player than Gundogan, and I have to disagree because I think Gundogan is a complete midfielder. I think Kovacic.
I'm talking about like on ball.
Yeah, I still think that Gundogan. They played there differently. I still think Gundogan on a technical level is much better than Kovacic. I don't. That's not saying that Kovacic or he's a better passer than Kovacic, but I think as an all-round player, he's levels above. You know, and I think that you keep saying that you guys got rid of a lot of youth, but really the only two players are playing for. There's only 3 players playing for Premier League teams, and one's playing for Luton. I think was it James McAtee's playing for Sheffield, and there's another guy I think at like Wolves maybe. You know, and
Yeah, there's
I
another player at Wolves.
yeah, and I just think that like you spend a lot of big money on these players. Jeremy Doku's not necessarily that goal scorer. He could be under Pep, but I don't think he replaces the goals Mars is bringing in.
Oh no.
Mateo Nunez, I don't necessarily see where he's gonna fit in because he's not really. He's a very good, you know, dribbling, attacking kind of direct player, but I don't really see where he's coming in with contributions to assist or goals because that's not really who he is as a player either. He's very like he almost is like a Jack Grealish in the center of the field. You know, he's good at driving and he gives you some like a new dimension. But I don't see where he fits in the Pep Guardiola type of tactics. Obviously, Gvardiol's probably the best young center back in the world at the moment. So I mean, you guys finally got your man. You may have overpaid a little bit, but I mean, you got your man. But that's why I don't think it's been sensational from City. I think they waited a long time to bring in these last couple guys. I don't necessarily think they're panic buys, but it just seems like they waited a long time. So we'll see how it pans out. I just think overall it's a B, not any better, not any worse.
Fair enough. Well, that's it for our 3 clubs. Let's maybe just kind of rapid fire here through a few more. Arsenal. Abdon, what do you think?
If this was pre-Timber injury, it would be a little higher.
Oh
Yeah,
I
I
knew
was
it.
thinking the
Here we
same
go.
thing
Here we
too.
go.
It's gonna have to be like a C. Just
I agree.
because they're so shot on both the left and right but right back. There's shot on the flanks back there. Center mid, Rice, I think will turn out good. I don't think he will be 105 million worth, but he will turn out good. Havertz, least 65 million for him is horrible. Who else did they
Great for
bring in? I
Chelsea.
can't remember off the top of my head.
David Raya.
David Raya, yeah.
Lateral, maybe even backwards move. I don't know yet. I don't know if Raya is any better than Ramsdale at many things. From my understanding, Raya had the second worst long shot conversion rate to fucking Kepa. So I mean, I can't be happy. If I'm an Arsenal fan, I wouldn't be happy with that. I mean, you got your man, cool. What the fuck does that do to me? Nothing. I mean, they signed on loan Tierney. I don't know why they don't have any left back coverage now. If Sinchenko goes down, Tomiyasu, who looked horrible the first 2 games.
He's not even a left back. He's a right back.
Exactly.
There you go. And they wouldn't even put Tomiyasu on the right back. They put it fucking,
Ben White.
what was it, Partey on the right back,
Oh, they did put
who's
Partey
injured
on.
now. So now they really got to play Havertz. Now they really do. I mean, or try Vieira, who's been working out for them, but I don't know if Vieira's maybe better as a super sub. I don't know. Not a good window. I think if they were this close to competing for the title last season, they're about that close now.
Yeah, I agree.
They didn't get any
100%.
closer. They didn't get
I
any closer.
agree. I would say it's just a flat C as well.
Terrible.
Daniel,
It's a
C.
C as well. Yeah. There's if Timber didn't get injured,
It
like
might be a different story.
it would be a lot higher. I think the circumstances wouldn't be. It still wouldn't be great, but it wouldn't be as bad as it is right now. Not that I'm saying they're bad, because they're like are they fourth
Fifth.
or fifth?
Tied for second, but yes.
Yeah, tied for second.
I
but
mean, yeah,
fifth
there's
on-
4 teams tied for second right now, but I don't think the circumstances at Arsenal are bad. But yeah, dude, with Timber being injured and then losing your coverage like Tierney for him to go to Spain and just not have anybody in mind. You didn't have to even sign anybody on a permanent deal, just a loan or something. But the fact that they didn't even, try to recruit someone in case if Zinchenko goes out, they're it's a repeat of what's happening last season right now. And they're gonna get stretched and they're gonna get tired and more injuries are gonna happen. So I would think it's a C as well.
Jose.
I mean,
No, yeah, I got nothing else to say. I agree with them wholeheartedly.
Okay.
I think that
and
even
they haven't looked good at all.
Yeah.
They haven't looked good at all.
And I know when Brandon was on here, was it last week, where he was saying that they still been winning. Like that's fine. You can still win. Winning bandages, over cracks. That doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. So I think that even with Timber, I still think if Timber was still fully fit, I'd still give this transfer window a C. I just think that for the players they brought in, like I am probably one of the only people that think that if he could be put in the correct position, which no one really knows. Every coach seems to have a different idea. I think Kai Havertz could be a good player. I still think 60 million was too much for him based on his time at Chelsea, and I still think that he didn't really fit in an Arteta system. So to me, it's a weird buy. I just and like you said with David Raya, I think that David Raya was brought in there. Do I think he's a upgrade in the sense of like the way Arteta likes to play to Turner? Sure, but I still don't think he takes Ramsdale's spot. And Declan Rice, I think Declan Rice is him and Drew, like Timber were the only two where I looked at it and went, those are good buys. But I also think that you could have spent that Rice money differently, or even that Kai Havertz money and brought in 2 other players. So
Yeah.
that's why I don't think it's a good transfer window in general.
All right. We're pretty much all in agreement there. Let's go let's go back to Manchester, but to the red side.
Gross.
I, for one, notably, was very high on this team.
Mm-hmm.
I really
I
like
don't know why.
Onana. I really like Hoyland. I thought a change of scenery for Mason Mount was gonna help. And then bringing in, which I know this happened after I was high on them, but they brought in Amrabat as well, who I like. But it's hard because I think these are all solid players, and with a different manager, I think I would grade this window higher. And I know it's maybe not fair that I'm judging it off the manager, but I feel like the buys were not like, I don't know if Ten Hag doesn't have a vision or not, or if the board or the director, if they have like differing visions, but like to me, it just seems like the buys didn't fit the team. The buys didn't fit the way Ten Hag wants to play, or maybe Ten Hag doesn't fit the way the board wants the team to play. I don't really know how to assess this window because like it's a lot of players that I personally rate, but they just aren't working. They're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole right now. So because of all that, I'll say C minus.
Yeah, I think personally, I think if you look at the way they want to play, I think this transfer window is actually pretty good for them. I just think the issue is the way they want to play isn't going to work in England. I know everyone's heard it. Ten Hag has said that he wants to be they want to be the best transition team, which is, they want to counterattack, which we saw against Arsenal. They do that well. They can sustain pressure and do that well. The issue is this isn't, and no offense to the Eredivisie because they got some good teams, but this isn't the Eredivisie. Like your team is not gonna overwhelm a majority of every other team in the league, and so when other teams are gonna sit down because the Premier League is known, to have teams sit back and counter you're Manchester United, like was it 14 out of really 12 out of the 20 teams are gonna sit back and you know wait for you to break them down. And I think that Ten Hag has built a team where they don't have anyone to break them down. The only player that is kind of creative is Ericsson, but he wants to get away from Ericsson. So then you have this accumulation of a team that's built to transition, but not built to break things down. And I think that's where we're seeing the issue because, yeah, they were good against Arsenal. That's fair. They lost the last minute, but they were good against Arsenal in that sense that they were on the transition. It didn't work well against Tottenham. They struggled.
And they were good. They were good in the first half.
Yeah, and they were good, but
They were good, but they were never better than good in the first half.
But I also think that Tottenham matched them, for on the physicality part.
Yeah,
and so I think that one, you're not playing the transitioning like with the new players coming in. It's gonna take a second to get those tactics embedded. Has it worked for some people? Like Rashford's still good. You still have players that thrive in that kind of system, but like I was saying, I just think that when you look at overall, you have no other options besides players that like to play in transition, like to pick the ball up, churn, and go quickly. And against teams that have low blocks, it's not going to work. And the majority of teams are going to do that to Manchester United. So Ten Hag either needs to start adjusting his tactics and evolving them, and trying to create a new identity for Manchester United that can be both a transitional team but also a very, good team, instead of just trying to, because I think he's trying to pander to the fans, to the board, but they're like, no, we always did. Like under Sir Alex Ferguson, we also were like a transitional team, but under Sir Alex Ferguson, you also have players like Scholes and Wayne Rooney, that people that could break these low blocks down and create moments of magic, which they don't have now. So that's where I give them a C overall, because I just think that it's more of the same, and it's not improving.
Yeah, I really liked Onana and Hoyland.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody else, it's kind of like what Eddie said. It just didn't really make sense because he's just kind of all over the place with the players and their styles and how he wants to set up and play. Um, and then on top of that, because he signed Johnny Evans. Is that his name?
Yeah, Johnny Evans. Yeah,
Yeah, for free, and he's like a 33-year-old, and he's like the complete opposite of what they need.
35.
35. Shit.
Even worse. Yeah.
It's like the complete opposite of what they need. And I know they want depth, but they don't. He's not the answer to their problems in depth. And it's now even worse now because Varane's out, and now they have to rely on Maguire, and Maguire's already really shitting the bed. And he's also making, in my opinion, he's making Onana look bad because Luke Shaw, Varane, Martinez, and then who's the right back? Is it Dallo, or is it
Dallo
Isaka?
but yeah, they switch off.
Is that Dallon and Wan-Bissaka?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, those four, I guess 5 players, they really make up the heartbeat of that defense. And if you have them, I think Onana would be a lot better. But now that 2 out of the 4, or I guess 5 players are gone, he's gonna have to really rely and trust in Maguire and who's playing left back for United? Oh, I guess
Is it-
Reguilon.
Is it not Malacia?
He's injured too.
Oh, he is. Then yeah, I
Yeah.
guess it probably will be Region when we restart.
So I think just not having depth, or I guess not having the right depth, is really hindering Onana because he's not as bad as what people are making him out to be. Oh look at Boo.
An appearance from a pet.
From a pet.
Yeah.
She's being dramatic.
But defensively, I think it was really bad. In the midfield, Mount, I don't think they needed Mount. They already have that in Bruno Fernandes and Eriksson. The only thing I'll give Mount, and the Chelsea boys can correct me if I'm wrong, the only thing that I'll rate Mount, even when he was playing at his worst, was that the dude, at least from what I saw, he ran like a dog every single game.
Yeah.
So that's really like he ran up, like he was almost like a box to box midfielder. Even though he was more of an attacking midfielder, he felt like a box to box midfield because he was just like he was almost like Bernardo Silva in the sense that like he's a dog. Like he will just run up and down just willy nilly.
Yeah, and that's why they bought him, because he's a transitional player. Because he'd run back, pick the ball up, turn around, and start driving forward. You know?
Yeah, and if they want to do that, then bench Fernandez. But at the same time, they can't really now because he's not only is he more creative than Mount, but Mount's also injured now too. So it's just a really big mess at United. Not even just transfers. I mean, it goes beyond transfers, but
Yeah.
if we're talking about transfers specifically, it's probably a C- for me.
Abdon.
That says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It might even be a D, honestly, for me.
Oh, it's
I
not
think
that
it's a
bad.
D. I think it's a D.
You think it's a D?
C-
I
it's
think
either
it's a D.
it's either for me it's a C- or a D. I gave it a C-. I wasn't trying to be that mean.
Tell me why it's a D.
I think their only clear upgrade on the squad is Amrabat. And we haven't even seen the motherfucker play yet.
He was a deadline transfer.
But we
The
know he's gonna
deadline
be
transfer.
good. He's gonna be good.
We thought everyone else was going to be good.
Onana's been good. You just don't like Onana.
No, bro.
I just said
Onana at
it too.
Just
52
mad that he
was
didn't go to Chelsea.
no, I didn't want to have Chelsea.
I would love him.
I didn't want Sanchez at Chelsea. I also didn't want Onana at Chelsea.
I back him on the Sanchez one. The Onana one, they can't.
I want Mike Maignan on at Chelsea, not fucking
He's not
Onana.
leaving Milan.
Okay,
No,
let's.
he's
Okay,
not.
this is not.
I'm
This is
just
not a.
saying.
This is.
I'm just
I take
saying.
Mike.
I want. You guys took shots. I'm fucking answering back,
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair
motherfuckers.
enough.
Okay, Mount for 60 million is
A lot.
daylight robbery with 1 year left.
Mm-hmm.
Højlund for 70 to 75 million. Who the fuck thought that was fucking worth it?
United.
Whether he comes good or not, 75 million? Fucking Lukaku was for 90 million 2 years ago and he was the highest scoring striker in that league. What the fuck are we doing? What is United doing? That is not. I understand that he might come good, but he also has stress fractures that somehow missed the medical. Like this man might not be able to play more than 1 game a week, and United are in Europe.
That's all they need.
What the fuck are we doing?
It's
Like,
they.
what the fuck are they doing? Like,
We knew what he meant.
Regulon
Are you
is
going
just.
with the D?
I'm going with a D, bro. Regulon is hot ass. Johnny Evans, his legs might fall off if he even steps on the pitch. And then outgoings. I mean, I know Fred isn't good, and maybe they want to just cash in, but I can't believe that Fred is not better than Mason Mount in the midfield.
For how United play, yeah.
For how United
Fred is
play,
maybe
not in
better.
general, just how they play for them.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty much it. Elanga fucking smoked us. Maybe they should have kept him. I don't know.
They also should have rolled the dice on David De Gea. I mean, it kind of speaks volumes of how
He's just too much money.
I said he was overrated.
De
Oh
Gea?
well, I talked to Jose about this whenever we were in Mexico because we were trying to rate. He was asking me the top 5 goalkeepers, and I was having a hard time trying to not put him in the top 5. But
In
I
the
really
world
thought-
or in the league?
in the league, and it especially during the summer, it kind of speaks volumes just how. It's not that he's bad, but I just don't think he's as good as what most people make him out to be. And the fact that he then went out and bought Onana, it kind of speaks volumes when they could have just easily kept De Gea.
It was
And I
the
know
money he
Abdon
was
said
on.
about the money, but they have, if they're going to splash 70
They're
million
broke.
on a 19-year-old, they
They're
have the
broke.
money to do that.
They're
I know
broke.
the Glazers. I know the Glazers are like they're treading the line of like putting United in debt.
Down
I
under.
mean, I think they are in debt, but like you know what I mean.
They're $1 billion in debt.
The
Is it a
issue
billion?
though. The
They're
issue
$1
though
billion
with
in
like
debt.
Bruh.
the issue
Yeah.
though with like De Gea is one of those players that I think has been victimized with the new because I think since Manuel Neuer stepped onto the scene, I think that people expect a lot more from keepers to be a lot better with their feet, a lot better with being able to pass it, and I think that's great and all for some teams, but I think that a lot of teams try to play that system without a goalkeeper that works, and I think that De Gea is one of those people that got victimized because in England that's what they play. The top 5, they always the top 5 teams, top 6 teams want to play from the back. But they want to have a goalkeeper like Ramsdale or like Onana who are spraying passes out like they're like deep line playmakers. And not every goalkeeper can do that, And I think that I'm not saying that he's fantastic with his feet, but I'm not saying he's the worst either. And I think that people don't look at his shot stopping ability. I mean, is he prone to mistake? Yeah, obviously. But I also think that he was very good for a long time for Manchester United, and they never really gave him the help he needed with the defense that was good enough. He had a decent defense last season, but I also still think that there were multiple times last season that Ten Hag's United with that so strong defense conceded 5+ goals. So I think that, and a lot of it, yeah, some of them were De Gea's fault, not not saying he wasn't held, he shouldn't be held responsible. I just think that the way that football is evolving, it almost feels like you can't play another way, and I think that's wrong. And I think that it's like the same thing I was talking about with like cams nowadays. Like cams are being eliminated from the game because they don't fit the quote unquote correct way to play, and I think that's stupid. So I think that it's sad for De Gea, and but I do also think Abdon's right in the sense that he is a lot. Like he's gonna cost a lot of money, even if he's a free agent. Like that's still a lot on the wage budget. So he also has to come down off of that because he's gonna have to take not a huge step down, but a step down if he wants to go back to playing club football. And that's gonna be like a 70, 60, 70% wage cut. Like it's gonna be a lot, you know? So I mean he's gonna go from making 400 a week to maybe 80 to 120 a week. Like it's a big cut. And he's just gonna have to accept that or retire. Like those are his only two options as well.
All right. Yeah, pretty shitty time to be a Man United fan. So I'm glad I'm not.
Woo!
Let's just do a couple more here. Let's do
I guess
Liverpool.
I'm gonna say Liverpool or West Ham or something like that.
Abdon. Yeah, we'll do Liverpool. We'll finish off with Liverpool and West Ham. Abdon, give us your thoughts on Liverpool.
A minus. They got their midfield sorted out, which is what they needed for the most part. We'll see what the Gravenberch is going to be like defensively. I don't know if he's a defensive midfielder or what. I mean, they got Endo. Yeah, the combination of Enzo and Henderson. They got Endo. The only place they shit the bed really is not buying another center back, if not two. They have no back line. That's where they get pegged down a couple spots for me. That's about it. Yeah.
Is this Van Dyke injured?
No, he's just on a red.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. He like cussed out the referee. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Daniel,
No,
what do you think?
I would probably say an A minus, A as well. They did really well with getting rid of all the old heads in the midfield. I think Endo. I don't want to. I don't want to downplay him, but like apart from him being from Germany, like I don't know much about him. I know he's supposed to. I know he's supposed to be like Caicedo 2.0 because they got into a bidding war with Chelsea, but so I'm assuming he's a defensive player. But apart from that, I don't really know anything about him. The other three players, McAllister, the Bayern Munich guy,
Gravenberch.
yeah, and then
Szoboszlai.
yeah, I was like, dude, I'm gonna need help pronouncing that fucking last name. I think those three are really good buys. I do agree with Abdon. I think another defender probably would have been the best choice because they're really relying on Van Dyke and not Upamecano.
Konate.
They wish I had
Konate.
Upamecano.
Yeah. They're really relying on those two players to really hold that back line, and then Joel Matip and
Joe Gomez or Van
what-
Dyke?
huh?
Joe Gomez or Van Dyke? Or Konate?
Joe Gomez. I think those two are just not good enough. And we really saw it from last season from Joel Matip. I think it was last season where we all found out that like the only reason why he was as good as he was because he was with Van Dyke. And it's not that he's bad, but like he's definitely not I think his time at Liverpool's done. I'll just say that. So I think he needs to go. I think both of those two guys need to go. But yeah, I think another defender would have really helped them a lot. But all in all, I think they did well with replacing the midfield and getting some depth in there as well. So I'll give it an A minus. A.
I will say,
Jose?
I will
Oh,
say
sorry. Go ahead.
one thing real quick. If Lavia is a panic buy for us, Endo was a doomsday buy for Liverpool.
Agreed. And that's why I
I
give
just-
Liverpool a B.
Dude, yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I agree 100% with that, Don. I think that, they lost down both Lavia and Caicedo. So they went with Endo. And, well, he's not a bad player. He's 30. He's not a long term replacement. We'll even see if he can adapt to the Premier League. I think they did really good with Slazavai and they did really good with McAllister. I think those are positions they need. I think they needed someone that could just kind of dictate the tempo in the midfield. Thiago never really was that guy for them, unfortunately. He had like one good season, but could never really hit the heights that was hoped of him. I think that ever since Wijnaldum left, they lost that goal-scoring threat in the midfield. And I think with Slazavai, they bring it back. I think he's very good. He's an
Maybe.
offensive player. He likes say what's up.
Maybe.
I mean, from what I can gather as a player, from what we've seen, we'll have to see how he performs in the Premier League. He's got one goal so far.
That's why I said maybe because it's 4 games in. That's what.
Yeah, it's 4 games in, but like when you look at the type of player they bought, it's a player that likes to drive in, run through the channels, likes to score goals, can shoot. So we'll see. I'm not saying that he's perfect, but I'm saying based on what we've seen of him, I think that that's a great buy. While they have improved a lot, I still think the squad needs a lot more improvement. More on I think the offense. I think offense is fine. I think midfield, you get another 2 players in the midfield. I think it'd be great. And then obviously a rehaul of that defense. But overall, from what they did do, I think a B is fair. I don't think they were poor, but I also don't think they were great. I think the only 2, like I said, of note were McAllister and Slazavai. I can't ever pronounce his name, but yeah. So I think that's the highest I can rate them, but it's not lower than that.
Yeah, I A minus as well. We'll finish up transfer window grading with West Ham.
Are we just doing the top 5?
We did Arsenal, our 3 teams,
Manchester.
Liverpool, United, and now West. So we did 7.
Okay.
This will be 7.
Obviously, they lost Declan Rice, which was what a lot of people thought gonna be like detrimental to them, maybe. But I gotta be honest, man. I think they're an A plus.
They are an A plus.
I gotta be honest. I think they're an A plus. I think Kudus was a great buy. I think Ward Prowse and Edson Alvarez are going to be perfect to replace Rice, and they've already shown. I mean, Ward Prowse has like 3 assists already, and he's only played I think 2 of their games because I don't think he was there for the first 2.
Yeah, and
Maybe I'm wrong. And a goal. They brought in Danny Ings for forward depth. Yeah, man, I don't think they put a foot wrong in this window, honestly.
They did.
Nah.
Yeah,
Not wrong enough. Not wrong enough to make me not give them an A plus.
No, did they bring Danny Ings?
Yeah.
They did.
Oh yeah, they did.
Why do I not see that?
Yeah, he came in for $12 million. I'm not sure what the Euro fee was.
Okay.
Oh, that was in January though.
Oh, was that in January?
Yeah.
It was in January.
Oh, okay. It just got blended in on FootMob with the summer ones. But still, that's a good buy for them. But yeah, still an A plus for me. They spent the Rice money pretty much the best they could. But yeah, I'll let Daniel go.
Yeah, they used every single bit of that Rice money, and they bought 3 new midfielders. Kudos, we're still. I mean, I know he's like really promising talent, but we haven't seen what he can do yet. So Well, just time will only tell how good he's actually going to be. But yeah, for Edson and James Ward-Prowse, they've been killing it. Edson's like a true defensive midfielder, and then Ward-Prowse is just a deep line playmaker. So I think they did no wrong with upgrading that midfield. I think they should have got someone better. Like, I don't think Danny Ings. I know he's a depth player, but I don't think he should have been him for the depth player. I think they should have bought somebody else who can not only offer depth but maybe even overthrow Antonio's spot, because even though Antonio's really good, he's like what 32, 33 years old. Like his time's coming up. Um, so, but other than that, I
Maybe
do
they'll
think
buy
it's an
Holland.
I'd love it. I'd rate it. Let's loan him out for a season. Let's see how good he really is. If he wins in the league, he's the
Oh
goat. I
my
don't know what to tell you.
gosh. I'm for it.
Sorry.
He'll tie Chelsea for the amount of squad goal. He'll tie Chelsea, that entire club. Didn't he get more goals actually than Chelsea?
No,
He got as many goals, I think.
no. He got two less. He got two less than Chelsea.
Oh, 2 less goals.
Yeah, the squad's better than the player. One player doesn't mean anything, Daniel.
That's true.
Trash. Yeah.
Sorry,
But,
keep going. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I was just gonna say. I think the only thing they did wrong. Well, I wouldn't say do wrong, but I just think they could have maybe just spent somebody else who could challenge for Antonio's starting 11 spot, because he still is good and he's still showing that he's more than capable of playing in the league. But
His
like
goal
I said,
against Chelsea.
he's getting older. Pretty soon he's just not going to be reliable, and so I just think they need to start. Especially they should have did it this last summer, but they didn't. But I think they really need to start looking at a striker.
Abdon?
Hey, I think.
He already rated them, I think.
No, I didn't.
Oh, go ahead.
Look, but shut me up if you want, then.
Yeah, you're done. All right, Jose. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna throw my tab down. Let him talk for a second. Let him cook.
Let me talk.
Let me talk.
Don't have any thing to really say about it. I think we're still at the surface of it. It's a really good transfer window, but we know how West Ham is with David Moyes. Those wheels can fall off at any moment, and then we're back on the Moyes out brigade from West Ham fans.
Shit, dude.
So-
The Wheels took him to a Conference League final and a trophy.
After what, 7 years of being there?
You've been there for like
Hey, man.
3 or 4.
I understand what you mean. I'm just saying, they were Moyes out last season
No, I
on
get it. I
in a
get it.
relegation scrap.
Yeah.
And
No, I
won
get it.
and won a Conference League.
Yeah.
So it's very wishy washy with them. I definitely think they spent the money well. I think the best player they bought is WordPros. If anyone's going to match that damn team, it's fucking WordPros. I don't care about any other player. He instantly made them better. Plus all the additions. We have to wait and see what Caduce. Alvarez has he started any of the games yet? I can't remember.
Started.
Yeah.
I think
He started
everyone
against
since
Luton.
Chelsea.
Okay. So Alvarez is gonna come in and acclimate to the league. I'm sure he'll do it quickly. Especially since they're a low block team. He won't have to cover as much ground by himself. So he'll be protected in that sense. Yeah. Paquetá is flying right now. I know it's not a new signing, but it kind of feels like a new signing just because he wasn't hitting those heights last season.
God, that gambling
Who
ban's
was?
about to come in hot, isn't
That's
it?
that's what I'm also saying is if that gambling ban does come in, man, do I feel bad for West Ham fans because they're gonna lose him when he's hot, when
That's why
he's
he's
red
playing like
hot.
that now. He's like, guys, look, I just had that
Exactly.
season. I wasn't gambling, I swear.
Exactly.
Who you guys
What's
talking
the game?
about? I didn't hear it.
Paqueta. His
Paqueta.
gambling
Oh,
thing.
Paqueta.
You know, I do agree with you, Abdon. I think while the transfer window was an A, I do think what I think this team's really good. And I think when you look at David Moyes in the 4 years he's been there, or almost 5 years now, where they were to where they are now, it's a lot better. But I also think that David Moyes, where a lot of people talk about new Eddie Howe being Newcastle's like transitional manager, I think to really unlock the potential of this team, you're gonna have to get a more offensive minded coach because you have so many good players in Bowen and Paqueta, and you got James Ward Prowse coming in, and you know, I think that'll also solve the striker problem because I think a lot of strikers, the reason that Antonio's still the number one is because he just can bully his way through and he can make a lot of things happen by himself. Where I think that for when they brought in Skamaka is not that kind of player. Like he is a great striker, he just needs, help offensively. Can't do it by himself, and I think that depending who they brought in, if Moyes was to get sacked, if the wheels were to fall off, I think that'll be really telling of what this team can actually do. Because I think that right now they're operating at like 70% of what they truly could.
Only thing I disagree with you is saying that they need an attacking-minded coach.
Well, someone that doesn't low block.
Only reason why I'll disagree with you there is because Chelsea were more of a low block counter-attacking team until we brought in Sarri. And we've been struggling ever since offensively because we're still trying to work that balance out on the team and change the philosophy of the squad and the fans.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been spending a ton of money and we're still struggling to do that same exact thing. I don't know if West Ham have that kind of patience to undergo that revolution.
See, here's where I disagree with you because I think you're right. When we got Sarri in, we changed completely the style that we wanted to play. And then we got Frank Lampard, who was a very attack-minded coach. Got a little bit better, but overall we still we're still having balance issues. And then we got in what's his name? Tuchel. And Tuchel was that low block counterattacking coach. And we did better, and that's fine, but I also think that when you look at West Ham's team versus the teams we were trying to play with, that offensive, that offensive style. Well, I'm not saying that West Ham was miles better. I'm saying we didn't have Eden Hazard anymore. We had him for a season. He left. We didn't have Eden Hazard anymore. We had Tom Abraham, which they sold to get in Lukaku. Or did they sell him after Lukaku?
No,
They brought in Lukaku to replace him. I don't remember if they sold him that same window or not. I think it was the window after. We brought in Timo Werner. We brought in who?
No. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, we brought in Timo Werner. We brought in Kai Havertz. We brought in a mix of these players that probably didn't gel together, And you're right. It was a balance thing, but I also think that West Ham if you do it correctly, it can work. And I think that, like you said, West Ham have been back and forth, up and down the last couple seasons. One season, I think I touched on it last week where they can either be really good or they could be fighting for relegation or fighting the stay out of a relegation scrap. So, and that's even with players like Rice in there. So I think that Moyes has done a really good job with the squad. I just think that they need to start moving away from that because the squad's evolved from that kind of play. Because I also think that if you allowed them to play more, players like Paqueta, Bowen would have a lot more freedom. So that's where I'm coming from. I get where you're coming from. I just think that they're in a better situation to do that kind of transition.
All right.
I don't know.
Do we want to end it there, or does anyone have anything else?
Can't think of anything.
Just one thing. Paul Pogba.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the doping allegations?
Yep. What do we think about it?
Talk about a sad end to a career that had so much potential.
He's blaming a dietary supplement based in the U.S. having testosterone in it. When we're maybe one of the most stringent countries in FDA regulations, and you tell me you're gonna be able to buy testosterone in a pill, when testosterone, I'm pretty sure, has to be injected.
He's got to be injected.
Like, nah. Bye
No.
bye Pogba. I mean, it's been a catastrophic end to his career.
Yeah, I think the only highlight since he left Juventus was a World Cup. Since then, it's been kind of. He's been. I mean, I almost forget about him at times, until someone brings him up. Because I forget he's what now, 30, 31? Like,
Yeah, in
he
his
hasn't been
30s.
he hasn't been good since 2018, and before that, he was not mediocre at Manchester United, but it's just gone downhill. So I think it's just
Yeah.
a sad finish for a
He's
player
30.
that had so much more. He's 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think that's a sad end for a player that had so much more because I don't see him coming back from it.
Only or I don't know what the Saudis' rule with doping is. I don't know if they fall. I don't know how this doping issue is gonna go. I don't know if it only applies to Italian league or if it's a whole FIFA wide thing. Just because it was an Italian tribunal that did the testing on him. It wasn't FIFA.
I think they're
So
anti-doping. FIFA is.
they don't. I'm saying they are anti-doping. I just don't know how it applies to it. I don't know if maybe Saudi would be exempt from that, and maybe just go to Saudi. I don't know how all that works since they're still technically a FIFA league.
Yeah.
That could be his only savior, really.
The only thing that kind of made me upset about it is that, like, I just feel like whenever word got out that there was a doping, or he could have potentially been doping, um, and then he like tried to like justify, like not like it just sounded like he was trying to make an excuse because then he like directly like a day or two after that whole thing happened, he then like went on interview and was talking about like how like the fame and all that is like getting to him and all this other stuff, and it kind of made me mad because he's a lot like Neymar in the sense that he's like going out, he's very flashy, he flexes his money, um, and like he was like trying to like I guess fish for people to sympathize with him over this whole thing. Um, and that kind of made me mad because I think he could have been a really big player, and he just wasn't that at all. And but either way, it's a sad end because it's either you know he's gonna get banned for what, 4 years if he was positive for blood doping or something like that.
It's not blood
Is that what
doping.
it was? Or doping or whatever it was.
Yeah. Is it 4? I
Like,
mean, that's kind of extreme.
I think it's a
Onana
4-year
didn't
ban.
get a 4-year ban.
I think it's like a four. I thought it was like a 4-year ban. I know it's like a really long ban.
Well, Onana got like a year or two banned from football when he got caught for doping
Yeah.
when he was at
But this
Ajax.
is also Serie A because they're super. I mean, I know every league's against it, but Serie A is like super against all that
But maybe
stuff.
maybe that's where I mean that is because maybe it's a 4-year in Italy, but maybe it was a 1-year in Netherlands. I don't know if doping rules for every individual league is translates directly to FIFA. So
Yeah, I just know that Italy are like super against all that stuff. Like I know Ericsson couldn't even play because he has his whole
Heart monitor.
but that's just because of a law
yeah,
that they have, not because of
the pacemaker.
PEDs, just because in Italian law, any player with a heart condition can't play professional sports.
Oh, I don't know that.
They don't want you dying.
Yeah, that's low key safe.
Kind of the goal.
Yeah.
It sucks because you're like, no, I can do it, and they're like, yeah, but we'd rather you not. And it's like, oh, but I can. Oh no, it's. I don't know. I think he just ruined his legacy. If he even had one to begin with. But I'm also not on the Paul Pogba train. I never rated him that highly. Like I think he was always good. Obviously, I think when he won the World Cup and he was a Juventus, he was good. But I think that a lot of his shortcomings showed a lot at Manchester United, and while that's not his fault, because he was still so young, he never really improved. He kind of stayed stagnant for most of his career, and then now with the doping allegations and stuff, it's just like, wow, it's just that's it for you, my guy. I don't know what else to tell you.
He could have been that guy though. He had so much to
Potential.
look up to.
Yeah.
Not even just well, yeah, he had a lot of potential, but like he was yeah, you're right, he was young, but like he had so much to look up to. Like whenever he was at United, Mourinho got him.
Yeah.
He was under Mourinho, he was under Zlatan, he was under he who else was there? There was someone big there as
Di
well.
Maria, Falcao. Like there was a lot of big players, and I agree with you 100%. But that's what I mean. Like it's one of those things where at United you saw shortcomings, and I think you saw his desire to actually get better. Where, like you said with Neymar, he was someone that really indulged in like the money side of things, And I don't think that he trained probably as hard as he could have. Obviously, I'm not sure. This is just speculation, but I do think that he was very stagnant his time at Manchester United. I don't think he got better at all while he was at Manchester United. So that was a 5-year stretch, 6-year stretch,
Something like that.
and he got dropped for the last 2 years of it. Like he never got better. That's why I think that he won a World Cup. That's great, but no, in my personal opinion, I don't think anyone's gonna remember him in 10 years. So
I mean, they'll remember the memes.
they'll remember the memes. That's for sure.
They're not gonna remember the play style. They're not gonna remember many action on the field. It'll all be the memes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of. I'm trying to think of Paul Pogba as a player, and he doesn't. There's nothing that like. There's no.
I remember the one goal at Juventus. The one goal.
Mm-hmm.
The
Well,
moving goal.
I'm just talking about just like as a player, like you think of Modric, you think of like the fact that he can just like make these unbelievable passes and like how he's just like how he ages like wine, like or I don't know, someone like Holland or even Neymar, like even
No
though
shot
like
you're bringing Holland in there when he's 23 years old.
I'm just saying like
He's gonna be the next one we talk about.
I'm just saying like there's qualities of players like that they're known for something, and like I look at Paul Pogba, and like he doesn't have that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
No, I know what you mean. He doesn't have that.
I know what you mean.
That distinguished style. Like when you think of like even now, like 20 years later, 10 years later, since he played Pirlo, those kind of players. Like he is, and I don't know why people find it so blasphemous to say he is overrated. I'm sorry. Like you had a lot of potential. You grew up into your prime. You didn't improve. You didn't play a lot. Like you were overhyped. Like you didn't live up to your potential. I'm sorry. That's your fault. Like you are not the player you could have been. If people are gonna do that on Neymar, I don't see why it's bad to do it on Paul Pogba. He reached the heights he wanted to, and I think a lot of that was his own fault. So
yeah.
And he had injuries. Obviously, I don't want to discredit that. Like he had injuries and stuff, but I just think that I never saw it. I never saw a drive to get better when he was on the pitch. Now in training, I don't know, but just like I never saw improvement, and so I can't sit here and go. He's such a good player when you don't show it. There's lots of good players that have technically good skills that never reach the heights, and that's their own fault. And they get forgotten in history, so he'll be one of those.
Yep.
But I think
anything else we want to cover before
I
we
think
sign
that's
off?
it for me.
I can't think of anything else that happened in the world recently that was big news. Did you see the article? This is just more of like a banter thing. Did you see the article of Mason Greenwood at Getafe, where people were saying, like the board of directors or coaches were basically saying that they could not deny that he was probably the best player they've ever had in their history as a club.
I did not see that, and that doesn't really
I
surprise
saw
me.
that.
Getafe.
It's just so. It's
That's
just
no
so,
disrespect to the club, but like it's Getafe,
It's just so.
and this was like one of the most promising teenagers that came out in recent history or recent times, and he kind of fell into a really bad situation. That was debatably his fault. I don't know. There's a lot of gray in that whole situation that he was a part of, but that doesn't really surprise me that he's the best player to ever come out of Getafe or to play at Getafe.
Poor Getafe. But they did it to themselves. So I don't know what to say to them.
When you're desperate for wins and points, you know.
Yeah, I get that, but like, come on.
I get it. It's a sticky situation to be in.
Come on.
It's desperation. That's all it is.
I know, but it's like Getafe's always been that team. They're never bad, they're never good, but like they're decent for the league. They
I'm
didn't
pretty sure they get relegated. They're. I feel like they're like the Burnley of.
Yeah, they stay up a couple years, they go down. They stay up a couple years, they go down. Burnley's gonna get relegated this season with Vincent Company if he doesn't get sacked. But like whatever. So
Talk about overrated.
Vincent Company.
No, just Burnley in general.
Well, they also like. I think. Well, a lot of people were like, "We'll see what they do," and they haven't played bad. They're not good.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But all right.
Next time we speak, there will be Premier League will be back. Champions League will be back.
Starts right when we get back.
It'll start the day we'll record the night it starts. Like it'll start Tuesday. It starts Tuesday the 19th. So we will be able to record and react to the first slate.
Oh my God! AC Milan playing Newcastle. Oh my God!
Oof.
That's a
So-
Milan win.
Tune in. Please don't miss that.
PSG,
It'll be fun.
Dortmund, Lazio, Atletico Madrid, Feyenoord, Celtics. Some good games.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow us wherever you can, wherever you want to. We're trying our best, and that's all we can do. So, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll be back next week. Peace.
Peace.
Deuces.